Hello everyone! So today I will be taking you through the steps that I usually take when I create my dashboards. So starting off, we're going to try and connect our data. So before we do that, we just want to actually have a look at what our data is so that we can understand how we can connect it. So here I have my Excel sheet and it's basically a comparison between DreamWorks and Pixar films. So here we have a overall sheet with the two production companies, and then we have the individual sheets. So as we can see, we have the film and the information about how each film did or how it went, and we have something similar for Pixar. So in order to join these two sheets, we basically want this to be pasted. So if I copy this and paste it here, pasted like this. Sorry, we'll just get rid of this. And we will find delete. There it is. Entire row. Yeah, so this is how we want it, and we want some kind of indicator here to tell us whether it's a DreamWorks film or a Pixar film. So that's what we're going to do. That's exactly what a union will do. It places values on top of each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag DreamWorks to the view, and then we're going to drag Pixar, and as soon as I try to move it towards DreamWorks, you can see that this line pops up. That's a relationship. We don't want that, so we want to hover very close to where DreamWorks is until you see this union, and then you let go. So as we can see, that symbol changes to indicate that it's now unioned. And if we scroll all the way to the side, we have this table name, and as you can see, it shows DreamWorks for DreamWorks movies and Pixar for Pixar movies. We also have a bunch of columns that don't actually add value, so we can just go ahead and get rid of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on them. Yep, so I'm just going to hold down my shift key and just click on two of the columns, click on this little arrow and then click hide. We can also actually hide this sheet as well. Just going to get rid of that. So this is now what we're working with. So now that we've got our data sorted, we're going to move on to sheet 1, our profit by film bar chart. So in order to do that, we're going to just drag film to rows and profit to columns. And we can see we're starting to get our bar charts here, but it kind of looks a little bit messy, so we're going to just tidy that up a little bit. So we're going to remove this null value by right clicking on your mouse and then clicking exclude. We're also going to sort these bars by descending order, which we can do over here. And it's just got that little arrow pointing down, that's descending order. And now we can see it's a little bit more cleaned up. But I want to add an extra feature to this bar chart, and what I want to do is essentially round the edges of the bar. So in order to do that, we're going to just double click in the columns until you get this little text box, and we're just going to type in the average of 0, press enter, and we're just going to drag this to our axes, our profit axes, until you see those almost green bar charts or rulers, and you just click let go there. So as we can see, we've got our film, and we should have two almost bars there. What we're going to do next is we're going to change our marks to be a line, and we have this measure name that just automatically comes in, and we're just going to drag that to the path. So as we can see, we've got these rounded edges on the bars, on the lines, and we're just going to make the size of them bigger until we've got what seems to be a rounded bar chart. Now, what I also want to do is I want to be able to color these by whether they're a Disney film, a Pixar film or a DreamWorks film. So the way we can do that is we can just drag table name into color, just like that. And I already have the colors saved, but you can get them online. So there we have it. This is our rounded bar charts. So we're going to create those little lollipop charts that were at the top of our dashboard. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to bring our table name, so our DreamWorks or Pixar, to rows, and then we're just going to drag our profit to column, so that will give us our total profit because it's the sum. We're going to drag our profit again, and yes, we have the sum, but we want to change that to average. So we're just going to click on this little arrow, go down to measure, click on average. So now we have the average profit. And finally, we had the count of film. So we have this film category here, and what we're going to do is we're going to right click with our mouse and drag this to the end, and it will come up with these two options, and we want to count film. So we can see we have our count of film now. So what essentially our lollipop chart is it's made up of a stick, so a bar, and a circle, which will be, the candy part, essentially. So the way we create this is by using a dual axis. So what we want to do is we want to drag the sum of profit again. So we have them next to each other. And we're going to just make this entire view just so we can see it a little bit better. So we have them both as bar charts right now. And if we go to our marks card, we can see we have sum of profit. We also have sum of profit 2 now. I'm actually going to change that to be a shape, just so we can see everything a little bit clearer. I'm also going to make the size of these bars smaller. Okay, and I'm going to make the size of these circles larger. Just like that. And then I'm just going to click on the second, either one, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to click on the second sum of profit, and I'm going to go all the way down to this dual axis. So when you see, when that happens, sometimes the shapes do change, and you can just go back into the marks and we can just change that back to bar. And once you do that, you also want to synchronize your axes. So how we can do that is we just click on one of our axes, right click on that, and we just click on synchronize axes. So now we can see it's much more aligned. But that's basically how you would create your lollipop chart. For the shapes, I actually imported 2 custom circles that matched the color of DreamWorks and Pixar. You can do it with this shape, the one that you're given, but when I drag table names to color, you can see you have this line. So in order to remove that, I just uploaded my own circle with these colors. And I will just go to those shapes. Before I do that, I need to drag table name to shape, and I will just find my maybe comparison and just select those shapes. And I'm just going to remove table name from color just so we can have that, and I'm going to actually bring table name to color here. So now we can see it colored according to the production company. And to add to the little label in the center, I just click on label and just click on show label marks. Now you can see that this is a large number. So actually before I do that, I will align this. So you go to alignment, click the drop down and just middle align. Oh, sorry, this is in the bar chart. We actually want it in the shape. So we're just going to click on show label marks, go to the alignment and go to center. Now we've got a large number here. So the way we can put a unit on there and reduce the numbers is by going to profit, right clicking, go to default properties, number format, and we want to go to currency, custom, and we want our display units to be in millions. So what this is going to do is it's just going to show us a more condensed version by adding the millions to it. We can also remove those 2 decimal points, which I will do as well. Just like that. So here we have our lollipop chart, and we're just going to continue this for the average profit and the count of film. Next we want to create our little icons. So these were at the bottom of our dashboard, and they removed the total franchise from the total to then standardize the production company's performance. So what we want to do is we want to group our franchises. So if we just drag film to rows, we can see that we have all of our films listed individually, but we want to make these a group. Thankfully, Tableau allows us to do that. So I'm just going to right click on film, create group. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my control key, and I'm just going to select the items that I want in a group. So I want the cars to be in the Cars franchise, so I'm just going to name this Cars. And now I'm going to do the same for How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm just going to, we can also right click on this and just select group, and as we can see, it groups. And just hit enter, and you can just keep going down and doing that for all the franchises, but I've already done this here, so just to save some time. So I'm just going to drag this to our rows, and as we can see now the titles have changed. So we can see that How to Train Your Dragon How to Train Your Dragon that's the name over here, but How to Train Your Dragon 2 is just named the same as the one above because we grouped them. And that's the same for all of them going down that are in a group. So now what we're going to do is we just want to take these off of our rows, and we're just going to bring table name to filters. So this one we want to make Pixar. Just click on Pixar and it'll just show us the Pixar values. So just click OK, and as you can see we just have a shape pop up. What we want to do now is we want to drag the group that we just created to shape. Now as we can see we've got all of our Pixar films and the ones that we just created in a group. So Cars is just Cars rather than Cars and Cars 2. We want to just filter it to our franchises. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the group into filters as well. We're just going to click none because this is quicker. And we're just going to select our franchises. So we've got Cars, Toy Story, and Monsters Inc. There it is. And just hit OK. And as we can see, we have these three icons. I'm just going to change my view to entire view. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to change the size. And we can see these are our icons for now. What we want to do is we just want to click on shape. And I've already saved this palette just to save us some time. So I'm going to just assign them their little icons. So here I've got the cars. For Toy Story, I have got it here. And for Monsters Inc., I've got it here. So there it is. Just hit OK. And then we have our little icons. And we're just going to repeat that for, you can just repeat that for DreamWorks as well. Our donut chart. So first we're going to go to our columns and we're going to double click and we're going to type in ATTR, and in the bracket we're just going to write 1. Then we're going to hold down our control key and drag this next to the one we created, and so we have two bar charts. We're going to change our marks in the our all marks to be a pie. So we have 2 pies, and we're going to change this to be an entire view and just make the size a little bit bigger. So essentially a donut chart is just a pie chart within a pie chart to give that donut shape. So we're going to just create a dual axes. So we're just going to go to one of these pills and we're just going to right click and just dual axes that. Now it may look like that it's just become one pie chart, but it just requires some formatting. So let's go down to our last marks card and we're going to change the color to be white and change the size to be a little bit smaller, just like that. So here we just have our basic donut chart shape. However, in our dashboard we had some interactive elements to this chart, and that was when you clicked on a franchise you could remove it from the total. So we do that by using set actions, and that's what we're going to start implementing into this donut chart. So what we're going to start off by doing is we're going to create a set. Now we want it on the film group that we created, because remember, we want the franchises to be removed from the total, not just the individual films. So we're just going to right click on the group, and we're going to go down to create and just click set. Now we want all of these films in our set, because remember, we want the total. So we're going to just click all, and we can just remove that null because it's not adding any value. Click OK. So we have our set here, and we're just going to drag this to columns, just like that. So now we have a donut chart for the in and a donut chart for the out of set. So this is whether it's within the set or whether it's not within the set. So now what we want to do is we want to create a calculated field, and that's just calculating 1 minus the set. So we're just going to go to create calculated field, and we're just going to call this 1 minus set, and we want this to be 1 minus the sum of our profit divided by the total sum of profit. Okay, so this is just going to give us our remaining values. Okay, click OK, and now we're going to go to our second marks card, and we're going to drag measure names to angle. Now we've got all of our measure names here. We only need the 1 minus set and the sum of profit. So we're just going to hold down our control key, and we're going to select the ones that we don't need. And just like that. Okay. There it is. Okay. So I'm just going to do that again because it just didn't work. So I'll just drag that there. Hold down my control key, and I'm just going to remove the ones we don't need. There we go, just like that. We're also going to change the sum of profit to be a percent of total. So we just right click on that, go down to quick table calculation, and it says percent of total right here. So now what we want to do is we want to drag this set to filters, and I want to say show in and out. I want both of them. Click OK. And I'm going to show my set just so we can see what that set is doing, and I'm going to show my filter. So we have that filter as well. What we also want to do is we're just going to bring table name to filters, and we only want this to apply to one production company, and then we can just duplicate the sheet and make that apply to the other production company. So I'm just going to make this DreamWorks, click OK. And we can see that the out doesn't really have a color, and that's just because everything's in the set at the moment. So let's try and take away a franchise. So let's say we take away How to Train Your Dragon. Now we can see that pops up. But this isn't very helpful because we can't really see the values. So we're going to go to our second marks card, second attribute marks card, and we're just going to drag this. Yeah, as we can see, that this isn't very helpful because we can't see what changes are being made until we hover over the individual charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag this sum of profit to label. So make sure you're just holding down your control key and make sure that it's on the second ATTR marks card. So just drag that to label. And as we can see the changes now. However, we don't actually want 2 donut charts, we just want 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on this out, and I'm just going to select hide. I don't want to exclude it because then it's not going to give me the full values. I just want to hide it. So now when I click on uncheck How to Train a Dragon, we can see the changes that makes to the profit. Now we also want to see the colors change, or to see how much it's changing by visually. So we can go to our measure names, just edit filter, make sure that it's on percent of total and 1 minus set. Go to our second marks card and see how measure names is on detail. We just want to change that to color. Okay, and we can just change the colors. So I can make this one the color of DreamWorks, and I can make this one just grey. Okay, and I'm just going to uncheck that. You can obviously swap the colors around, but that's just how you would do that. Next, we want to create our bar chart that splits up the top 10 films by profit into their different production companies. So how we can do that is we just drag table name to columns, and we're just going to bring sum of profit to the rows. Okay, so next what we want to do is we want to just drag table name to color, so we have our different colors, and the way we can get just the top 10 is by bringing film, so just the original film, to filters, and see we have these tabs. So we want to go to the top, click the second radio button, we want the top 10 films by profit, and we want that by the sum aggregation. So if we click OK, we can now see that these are our values, and we can just add a label to the top. And if we wanted to format any of the graphs that we've made so far, we can just, because we've got the label, we don't need these axes anymore, so we can just right click on that and just uncheck show header. And if you want to remove any of these lines, we can just right click on just the space, go to format, and we can just remove. So if we go to the borders, we can remove the totals if we have any, but we can also go to these lines and remove the grid lines and zero lines that we don't need. There's nothing in the background. Now let's create the changes to profit bar chart. This will also be a set action because when we click on those franchise icons, we want the profit to change as we remove those values. So what we want to do is we want to first start off by just building our basic bar chart. Let's bring our sum of profit to columns and our table name to rows. Okay, and now we want to put table names onto color, turn our labels on, and in order to incorporate our set actions, we want to just bring the set we've already created to our filters. Then we're going to right click, show in and out of set, and we only want the values that are in the set. This means that it won't show us, so with our donut chart, we wanted to see the percentage of total from a whole point of view. In this case, we just want to see what the updated values to profit will be as we remove those. So we just want the in. Okay, and now we just select OK. And there we have it. And just to show how that will work, I'm just going to show my filter and I'm going to show my set. So if I remove the How to Train Your Dragon, we can see that that's just now an updated value. And then we're going to create our final chart, which is the star chart that showed the average ratings for the production companies. So we're going to also be using a set action here because we have the feature where when you select the franchises to remove, the average will change, the average rating will change as well. So we're actually going to start off by just creating the star, and we'll add the set in at the end. So in order to create the star, we have to change our marks to shape, which I already have. And we're just going to bring table name to filters, and we're going to select just one because we're going to have two stars, one for DreamWorks and one for Pixar. So just select one, click OK. As you can see, we immediately have a shape pop up. So we're just going to change that shape to be a star. So if you just click on shape, you can see the star right here. Just click OK, and we're going to just color that star based on which production company it's for. I'm just going to change this to entire view, and there's our star. We're also just going to bring average ratings to label. Now you can see it's on the end over here, so we're just going to click on label and we're just going to align that to be in the center. We can also see that the ratings is just a sum, we don't want that, we just want the average. So we're just going to click on this field over here. We're just going to go to measure, select average, and there we have the average. And now we're just going to include that set. So again, we already created the set, so we're just going to bring that into filters, and we're just going to make sure that it's show in and out of set. And we're just going to click N, and there you have it. And we're just going to duplicate this for Pixar, and we're just going to change the filter. But yeah, that's how we create that. Create our dashboard. As you can see, I've already dragged on sheets onto my dashboard and formatted it in a way that I liked. You can format it in the way that you would like, but just a couple of things to note. I'm using floating rather than tiled when dragging on my sheets. It's just much easier for beginners to use floating because it just kind of, you can put it wherever you like just by dragging and dropping. Whereas with tiled, it can become a little bit tricky. And I've also checked this box that says show dashboard title. So you just double click in here and you can just type in what you want your title to be. Now I'm actually going to focus more on the set actions rather than the formatting, because the formatting you can just kind of play around with and see what you prefer. So again, what we want our dashboard to do is when I click on these franchises, I want these values to move. So what I can do is, because all of these already have that set action incorporated, we go to dashboard, go down to actions, click on add action, and here we have this option to change set values, and that's what we want to do. So click on that, and we just want to make sure this is on select, and just click the uncheck the sheets that we don't have a set action on. So we don't have it on. We do have it on that one, we don't have it on this or the lollipop chart. However, everything else has a set action, and you can just click on this set and just select your set. It comes up with missing field on multiple worksheets. It should still work because the set is still on there, so don't be too concerned about this. So now we want to say that running this action, so what Tableau is asking, what do you want us to do with this set? So we're basically saying that running this action I want to remove the franchises from my totals, and clearing this selection so we can keep the view as is when you've removed these values, or you can just quickly add those sets back, add those values back to the set or back to the view, and that's what I want to do. So then I'm going to click OK, click OK again, and now when I click on Monsters Inc., it removes Monsters Inc. from my donut chart and it changes to profit, and we can see that the average ratings actually has increased. So you can conduct an analysis, and as you click through, because we're saying remove all values, you can just keep clicking on these icons and it will keep removing and adding this to or keep extracting these from the totals. However, when you double click on something that's already been selected, so cars has already been selected, if I click off of that, it resets the value. So that's how we can play around with that franchise and removing those franchises. But yeah, everything else is just formatting, and we can also just bring in images if we would like. So we can just choose the image, and we can also bring in text. So these are just for like our titles or any interesting insights that you want to add. You can do that as well. But that's the end of this Create My Viz with me. I really hope you enjoyed that.